Welcome back, everyone. We're going to focus on the fourth type and the final type of tissue, and this is called the neuron. When we talk about neurology, we have two types of cells. We have a neuron, which is what we see in this picture below. It's the only electrically excitable cell. And then we have a neuroglial cell. Neuroglial or neuroglial cell, which means nerve glue. It helps to hold it together. And when you get into neurology, you'll learn about the 6 or 7 different types of neuroglial cells. One of them is a Schwann cell. I'm just going to put one of them down because it's important, called a Schwann cell. And the Schwann cell produces myelin, which we see here down below. So a neuron is going to have three main parts. It's going to have a cell body, right, which has the nucleus. It's going to have these branch-like extensions coming off of it called dendrites. Dendra means branches in Greek. So we have these dendrites, these branches, the cell body, and then an axon. Those are the three main parts. At the very end of the axon, we have the axon terminal. And at the very end of the axon terminal, we have these structures that are called end bulbs or synaptic end bulbs. They're called end bulbs or synaptic end bulbs. And within these synaptic end bulbs, they're going to hold neurotransmitters. A neurotransmitter is like a chemical messenger. And the neurotransmitter, let's say it's going to connect to, let's say, a muscle. Let's say this right here is some skeletal muscle right there. So this end of the axon terminal, which has the end bulb, is going to release a neurotransmitter that's going to affect the muscle to make it contract. And that neurotransmitter is called acetylcholine or ACH. ACH or acetylcholine. That's the neurotransmitter. It's always excitatory at the neuromuscular junction, the NMJ, the neuromuscular junction. Now notice this is the direction that messages are sent. It goes from the dendrite into the cell body, into the axon, all the way down to the axon terminal, and then at the end bulbs, they're going to connect to something. In this case, I just drew a muscle. Now, the axon is protected by this fat and cholesterol called myelin. Myelin is produced by the Schwann cell. Each of these is actually a Schwann cell. But the Schwann cell produces myelin sheath, which is an insulation. It's like a fatty cholesterol insulation that's designed to speed up the conduction from here, from let's say point 1 all the way to the end, point 2. The myelin is this insulation, right? So think of this as like the electrical wires, but you don't want to touch electrical wires. You want to insulate it. Most plugs, you don't see the electrical wires. They have that black insulation around it to speed up the current. Well, that's what myelin does. And we know that there are some autoimmune conditions in which the myelin can break down. Where there's an autoimmune condition, AI, an autoimmune condition against these Schwann cells that produce myelin, and you know what we call that disease? We call it MS, multiple sclerosis. If multiple sclerosis is there and you're breaking down the myelin sheath, you get this poor nerve conduction. Poor nerve conduction, and then muscles don't work properly. The eyes, you start to get, blurred vision, these visual disturbances, and then clumsiness of the hand and heaviness of the legs, and that's multiple sclerosis or MS. Okay, when we come back, we'll do our tissue review.